All right, guys. So let's make a new screen today. I need to change the mesh on my screens that I want to print white on. I'm trying to print white through such a high mesh count, and it's making my print kind of dull, especially with for like an underbase. If I'm trying to do like multiple colors on like a dark skateboard, first you need to put down an underbase, and the underbase isn't thick and clean. It's going to cause problems later down the road. And my issue is that I'm trying to push white ink through a 230 mesh screen or 280 mesh screen, which is it's not going to work. In t-shirt screen printing, if I was going to print you, let's say like a black shirt with a white logo, anytime I print white, I'm going to print it on a 160 mesh. So the same rules are going to kind of apply to skateboard screen printing. The exception is, your off contact is going to be a lot higher, which causes you to, push down a little harder. So this is kind of like an experiment to see if this is going to work a little better. So a couple things you need for the screen, of course, is mesh, 2x4, okay, scissors, staple gun, glue, and a screen puller. Okay, you can find this on Amazon pretty cheap. I don't like the weight, so I'm going to use my pneumatic stapler, drill, okay, 4 3-inch wood screws to screw into the wood here, and of course staples, which you're going to need way more than this. It's just all I grabbed for demonstrative purposes. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the 2x4, and I'm going to measure out, and I'm going to cut my pieces to see how big I want the screen. Alright, hopefully you can see what I've got here. So a screen size just kind of depends on how big you want it. I like my screens oversized. This measures 24 by 30. Okay. Underneath here I have this is a 9-inch template. It's a 32 by 9. But I don't know if you can tell how much gap I have on each side. Okay, for me, when these screens are wide like this, it kind of helps, with the concave of your deck. The wider the screen is, the more I'm able to pull, the more I can kind of push down and kind of help the screen contour to the concave on the deck, if that makes sense. Like I said, some people like different size screens. For me, I like an oversized screen. It helps me out a lot when dealing with like really high concave. Just something to think about. All right, guys, let's cut the pieces I need. Luckily, I had some scrap wood here in the shop. I'm gonna cut one at 30 and one at 20 1/4. And when I'm done cutting these pieces, I'm gonna put it on my table saw, rip it in half, and then I'm gonna take the rounded edge off. So bear with me, man. It's gonna be a little noisy here as I cut my fan on and cut these pieces of wood real quick. All right, here we go. First one cut. Now I'm gonna take this edge off too, but I'm gonna come a lot smaller here. Right there. All right, let's take this last rounded edge off. Alright guys, so let's move on to how to assemble this frame here. And remember, you don't have to do this my way. You can go to any of the big box stores and find you a 1x1 or a 2x2, make your own screens out of that. Issue I find is that they don't have, of course the wood isn't straight over there, so I'd rather buy a 2x4, cut my own. So, ends here, pre-drill, hole in each corner. Add a little bit of wood glue, skateboard glue. Do the run inside. Motherfucker. Pretty good. Square. A little off on this side, but I think it's just because the wood is warped. God damn it. Alright, now what I'm going to do to help square this thing up, man, is I got some cutoffs, some 45-degree cutoffs that I'm going to put in the corner here. I'm going to glue, and I'm going to shoot a brad nail into the corners, so each corner will have a 45 like this. I'll maneuver around a little bit just to make sure my frame is pretty square. Alright guys, so my frame's done. It's nice and square. I'm gonna let all this glue dry tonight, and then tomorrow morning we'll start stretching these screens out. Alright, let's start making the screen. First, I'm gonna take this ribbon and I'm gonna staple it. All four corners. Again, you can use one of these if you want to. I like to speed my shit up a little bit. Alright, so now I got this going all around my border. Kind of helps the screen have something to grab onto, because we're going to staple the screen, the mesh to the wood, and then we're going to apply some glue. So this kind of helps everything stick together, okay? Just got my mesh here, 160 mesh. So So I'm going to start. Going in the XY pattern, okay? Now I'm going to pull the slack. This doesn't have to be too tight. So now I'm going to trim my excess, but I'm going to leave a good bit along the edges. Okay, you don't want to trim it too much. You're going to need some excess, that way you can pull. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. Right. So now that I've got my screen cut exactly where I want it, now I'm going to start stretching it, okay? What I like to do is kind of clamp this side down. Let me do it over here. You guys can see what I'm doing. my camera. Let me move all this real quick, guys. Sorry. Clamping these corners down, I'm gonna have to really pull hard to get this mesh stretched out. So I'm gonna follow the same, right? X, Y, X, Y. So get your screen puller. You wanna really pull this thing tight. Grab a couple skateboards and move over. Pull this thing tight. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. Okay. When I'm pulling super hard on this. Notice it's getting tighter here. Even though it's wrinkled up here, the wrinkles are going to go away once I start pulling this side, okay? So don't freak out. Making a bunch of screens, definitely invest in one of these, man. Save your hands. We're gonna do the same on this side. Some more. Now this is where it's. That's where you gotta take your time. You want to make sure you're pulling these wrinkles out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip my screen around, flip my clamps. See how all these wrinkles just went away? That's exactly what you want. It's okay if it's a little wrinkled right here because your image is going to be here. Okay? Try to not let the gun get ahead of the clamp, okay? Shit ton of staples. There you go, screen is done. It's tight. What I like to do now, so I'm gonna get my wood glue ready. But now you can cut off all this excess that you don't need anymore. Just a little bit right here. So I got a couple staples that are sticking up. I'm gonna beat them down off camera. That way it doesn't shake my video. Guys, next step, we got ones that were, I know this seems like it's really warped, but it's the table I'm on right now, so piece of wood is so warped. Last step is to apply your glue. Get a generous amount of glue here, and take your fingers and rub the glue into the screen, into the wood. It adds another layer to make sure your screen doesn't pop off. That's why you hammer the staples. One caught me, cut my damn finger open. So make sure you hammer these staples out. Alright, this is done, man. Once this glue dries, it's really important that you degrease the screen. So before I even coat it with emulsion, I'll wet it, take some Dawn dish soap and a brush, scrub the shit out of it, and rinse it out. Make sure it gets degreased before I actually put my emulsion in it. But that's it, man. DIY screen for skateboard screen printing. Oversized, the way I like it. Man, it's really important if you are trying to screen print skateboards to build your screens. It's really hard to do with the aluminum screens because they're super tight. You can see this is tight, but it has some play to it. I can actually touch the wood underneath me. So that's what you're gonna want to wrap around your concave. So any questions, man, hit me up. I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. Hope I covered everything. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.